This episode of Nintendo Pow Block is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our family of podcasts, head over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia or search for us on the Patreon app on your smart device. Thanks for helping us build something better. Hello everybody, welcome to Nintendo Pow Block here on Boss Rush Games. I'm your host and life's excited ADV. Joining me is the one, the only bossman himself, Mr. Corey Derrick. Hello, good sir.
Hello, Ed. I missed you. I missed your face.
I miss you too. Corey, can you believe what episode it is?
It's 350, Ed. It's some would say this is a milestone episode.
It really is. Like 50 more episodes will be on our 400th episode. Like our probably, of course, it's our longest running podcast, but
yeah, I mean, we've been doing it for a long time. We've been doing it for a long time. So, you know, it's this is I mean, I don't know, man. Numbers. Am I right?
Yeah, so. but I think we've done so much. We've been reporting and discussing so much for the last 6 years, plus with Nintendo and even just other games and stuff. Hitting a milestone of 350 really is, to me, just very historic. You know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of podcasts don't make it this far, and we did it. So we're wrapping it up. This is it. We're done. I'm just kidding. We're not done. Ed wouldn't let me quit even if I died. He'd find a way. What? I don't know, Ed. When AI is getting so good now, Ed, and there's so much content out there with our voices that we could probably like feed AI our voices and images of our faces, and they would be doing our podcast forever.
No, because AI doesn't know my wacky hot takes.
That's not true. There's so many hot takes out there, Ed.
Yeah, people would be like, "Oh, this is AI." That's not it. It wouldn't say anything like that. I think people like we had our writers meeting everybody, and I already had my hot take saying is Tears of the Kingdom versus Final Fantasy 16 the kind of like Mega Man 2 versus Mega Man 3 debate. Like, are we going to have that debate when we get to Game of the Year discussions?
Yeah, I mean, I really thought Zelda was going to be a lock, but there's so many amazing games this year that it's like, I mean, you know, and a lot of people are kind of, you know, everybody loves Final Fantasy 16. A lot of people liked Star Wars when it came out. A lot of people like Diablo. Starfield is coming. Like
Hogwarts Legacy may be up there. Like that's
Hogwarts Legacy, the Resident Evil remake, the Dead Space remake. Obviously, like Mario is coming out later this year, right? Like there's a lot of games still out there that are coming up. So, you know,
Spider-Man, but depending on what Jeff Keighley allows, to make the Game Award announcement list.
Well, Kojima doesn't have the game coming out this year, Ed. So,
well, his cut off. Like I think he will. If Spider-Man came out or a little bit later and stuff, no, Spider-Man will be out in October. But like, I wonder if Keighley's gonna be lenient so that like Mario Brothers could be in the discussion, or will he cut it off?
Yeah, like, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not worried about it. I really think that Zelda's probably just going to walk away with it still, in my opinion. Unless Starfield is like a perfect 10. Like I still think I think Zelda's just going to walk away with it. And I just think that Zelda is too broad of a title, so important of a title for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, Switch just hit another record sales milestone in Japan, right? Like where it had its highest month of sales ever in 6.5 years of it being on sale over there,
Mm-hmm.
because of Zelda. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I think Zelda's just going to walk away with it, in my opinion.
It would definitely be interesting to see who takes it because nomination wise, like if Starfield does hit a 10 and Spider Man just hits a 9, whatever, if we get good rating, literally all three first party will be in the running, and then there'll be like two third party games. For right now, to me, will probably be Final Fantasy 16 and maybe Hogwarts Legacy, but also Resident Evil 4 remake.
Yeah.
You know, um, Dead Space might get into the discussion. Um, there's a possibility some indie game might get into it. Like we don't even know what the indie scene yet is yet. Like, what is the nominations for those or anything?
Yeah. It'll be interesting, but we still have a half year to go. Still a lot of games to come out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Pikmin 4 is on the horizon.
So ready for Pikmin 4. Uh,
Everybody
I
seems to be loving the demo. I haven't had a chance to check it out, but mostly because
same.
I'm really trying to finish Zelda. So, you
I'm
know.
gonna get back to Zelda. I've been working on Ghostwire Tokyo. Been enjoying that. I think I'm trying to 100% it. Like do a lot of side quests, get my character leveled up, and then like um finish the game. It's not bad or anything. Um, it's just something that I that's driving me to play my Xbox more and
Mhm.
everything. Like I will hop back into Tears and finish it up because I know a lot of people been finishing that one up and people been finishing Final Fantasy 16 up. So it's kind of been good to see people kind of stick to one or two games, and wrapping them up. And for some people, like going back and doing replays or doing side quests and stuff like that. So I mean, that's kind of good for that to happen. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been playing a lot of stuff on Game Pass. Like I've been playing a lot of Planet of Lana actually on Game
I
Pass.
I need to buy that game. Wasn't there like a trailer for that like last year?
Um I don't know. I just it was in a one of those something in ID at Xbox showcases earlier this year, I think, and
Okay.
they announced that it was coming to Game Pass. So I saw a lot of people liking it, and Sarah Bond actually tweeted about it, and Phil Spencer ended up tweeting about it too recently. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna pop in and try it. And I'm like 2.5 hours in. I think the game's only 4 or 5 hours in total. I'll probably finish it this weekend, but it's fun. It's kind of got that like Limbo Inside vibe, but it's way more colorful. The puzzles
Yeah.
are interesting and fun and kind of difficult, but also, they're good. It's a good game. I highly recommend it if you have an Xbox.
Is
So
it from the same publisher that made like the gunk? It's like Dunderfunk or something like that.
Thunderful is the publisher. Wishfully is the
Thunderful's the publisher.
developer.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because like the publisher, I got the game the gunk from them. And I
yeah,
think that one was on Game Pass, but I ended up buying it. It's like where you're on
yeah.
this. Oh,
I'm listening.
oh, that you were on this planet full of gunk. Like you
Hmm.
um were working for this company because you needed money to like get your ship back and stuff. And I think it's like you and your sister, and you go through this land, like think of Super Mario Sunshine mixed with um Luigi's Mansion. Like it's a lot of gunk on there that you need to clean up, but instead of you um washing it away with water, you're like sucking it up and
Mhm,
everything. And reveals puzzles and things like that. It's a really good, like a 6 hour kind of ish game. Um
mhm. It's also
and
on
it
Game
was
Pass too.
yeah, that one was really, really good and everything. And I like I'm thinking of wanting to revisit so I can 100% it, but I'm just like maybe not. I don't know. Gotta play it by ear. And
Yeah,
stuff. I
yeah.
don't
I
know
mean,
why
that's
I've been
fair.
in the mood to like give get like achievement stuff on Xbox. I don't know why I've been in that mood for some reason.
Yeah, I've kind of been in that mood too. I've been just kind of like searching around for stuff. It's been I don't know. I've been just trying out different stuff. I mean, like earlier this year, I played Ravenlock and Unpacking,
Mhm.
which were like really fun. Kind of like, I mean, Unpacking was like a 2 hour experience that was super fun, and uh, the achievements were really easy. And then Ravenlock, I ended up going for all the achievements in that game, and that game was super fun. And then now I'm playing of Lana, and there's a bunch of other stuff that I want to play that I don't know, man. I gotta finish Zelda first, and
Mhm.
then I will be free to play whatever I want. Um, so I'm almost there. I finally got the quest defeat Ganon, so that'll be happening within the next week or so, or 2 weeks or something.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if there's something wrong with my Xbox or well, not wrong with my Xbox Series X, but I know I barely play any of Final Fantasy 15. It stopped installing, and I have enough memory in my and they were just like, well, you got to clean the disk. I'm like, I cleaned it, but it's still not installing. I'm just like, what the heck is going on?
I don't know. Maybe maybe there's a scratch on the top of your disc.
Which is weird because I'm just like, man, I know this thing. I played it a little bit, but I haven't like really given it time or anything,
Yeah.
and it's been in the case. So it's just kind of it's like this is very weird.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know, man. But yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy 15 is another good one. I've been really wanting to go back to Lost Odyssey. I've been thinking a lot about that game recently.
I That's another one that I wanna. I think I got it digitally. Yeah, I got the digital version because
Hmm.
I think they was giving it away for free at one
Yeah.
point.
Um. Yeah. Me. Oh, for Lost Odyssey.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. They were giving it away at some point. Um. I think. I mean. I think that was like during the Xbox One era. It was like free for like 6 months.
yeah.
Game's incredible, by the way. Man, I really wish they would make a sequel to that game. I know they won't because it didn't sell well, but
Over Miss Walker.
yeah, now they're
I
making
think that
phone RPGs.
I think it was that time when Microsoft really wasn't not publishing, I should say, really marketing a lot of the Japanese games for their systems.
Hmm.
I know that's always been one of their problems was that they cater more to the American uh community and gamers than they did like those who like the RPGs or the JRPGs at that time and stuff. Um yeah, and it was just it was when with Xbox, we are the hardcore machine. We are the shooters, we are the mature stuff. And the RPG community really wasn't there, um wasn't who they were really looking for, but they needed some kind of diversity on their system.
Yeah, I think Xbox has kind of gotten away from that at this point. Like I kind of
Mm.
feel like Xbox has really become more of the Western RPG studio at this point. I mean, in terms of acquiring and stuff like the last shooter. What was the last shooter they put out? Halo. I mean, that was the last kind of major thing that they put out. Um, it's been a long time since Wolfenstein. It's been
Mm,
a long time since uh Gears. It's been a long time for that. So I mean, like you look at the last few games they've actually put out. It's been Hi-Fi Rush and Psychonauts and Flight
yeah.
Simulator and Forza and uh Fallout 76 expansions and an update to Skyrim and Minecraft updates. And I just I, and I feel like that's where we're at with Xbox. Redfall I guess was the last shooter technically, but um I think everybody, including maybe Xbox and Bethesda, just want to forget about that game. So like really the last kind of meaningful shooter they've put out was
It'll be
Halo.
Halo. Yeah,
Uh,
Halo Infinite. That would be.
yeah, and I'm really excited to see what's next. I mean, you look at the stuff that they're getting ready to put out in Game Pass, right? Like Lies of P is a game that's coming out soon that
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody is like really hyped for. I think a lot of people are super excited for Lies of P. That Sword and Fairy game just came out that people seem to be really high on. I'm actually going to download it right now because I think that game looks interesting. Let's look at I'm looking at the recently added stuff. Arcade Paradise, Story of Seasons just came to Game Pass. Need for Speed Unbound. Everybody seems to be liking that Fist Forged in Shadow, which I think it came to PlayStation last year. I think it
Yeah, it
might
was.
be on
It
Switch
was on.
already.
Yeah, it was on. It started off on PlayStation 4. I don't know if there's a 5 version. A year later, a year and a half later, it came to Switch, and I didn't know that it was coming to Xbox. But I guess now it's gonna be on Xbox, so it'll be on all three platforms plus PC
Yeah.
with that one.
I'm trying to see where the coming soon section is. That's leaving soon. I don't care about any of those games. Um let's see. They usually have a coming soon section, don't they, on Game Pass? Well, you don't know. You don't
It,
subscribe to Game Pass.
mm,
Um yeah, so I mean anyways, my point is like I think Xbox is really kind of pushing, and like I almost wonder, and we're gonna get to Nintendo stuff in the soon. It's real soon. Sorry, guys. But like, I feel like I almost wonder if Microsoft's attempt at diversifying their portfolio is like really almost hurting them, because you go to PlayStation and like say what you will about their third person action games, because they're all third person action games in some respect, but like
mhm.
you know what you're getting, right? A high quality cinematic third person action game that's looks beautiful, and uh and then you go to Xbox and you have stuff like anywhere between Hi-Fi Rush, Minecraft, Forza, Halo, you know, Psychonauts. Like they all look totally different. They all play totally different. And like as somebody who likes different types of games, I like that a lot. Um, but also like I wonder if that's kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking out loud and I'm really
So
dumb and
it's
nobody
not
really cares.
it's
But
it's no, it's not that it's hurting them. It's that people are getting tired of Microsoft not being consistent with releases. You know, yes, they had a you got this powerful box and or console, um, and people are expecting games to come out for it and everything. And this kind of
Mhm.
also plays a little bit on PlayStation 5 also. And the thing about it is, it's just that ever since your system was announced and released, half of everything that you announced was going to be out is not here.
That's not true.
And I mean, like, what have they announced that has what stuff have they announced that has not been out on the system when they first got released?
When the system first got released,
when the first
Hellbl-
system was first released.
Hellblade.
Hellblade, yes, but Halo Infinite took a long time, even though that was kind of
Yeah, but it's
uh
out, and look how great it was when it released. I know a lot of people hate it now for some reason. It's still a great video game. I don't
mm.
understand why people don't like it. I mean, I
but
understand
I
like
think
the the legs of the multiplayer and like
mm,
the kind of semi hinted at single player stuff that was coming down the road never came out. But that game as a launch package, that game was incredible.
but it took long. I think because of all the delays, and I think a lot of people felt like with all the delays that's hitting Xbox.
Yeah, but nobody complained that Zelda was delayed.
Right, but I think but even with Zelda being delayed, Nintendo was consistently releasing first party games. They were
Well,
releasing,
up to the release of Halo, Xbox was also releasing high quality first party games. Not
but
as many
how
as
many?
Nintendo. Not as many
See,
as
and
but nobody
everybody
releases games
wanted
like
to be.
Nintendo. Nobody releases games like Nintendo. That's not fair.
Well, but
That
that was
the
the thing
year
about it.
within the year Halo Infinite came out.
Hmm.
With here, I gotta look this up. What year did Halo Infinite come out? 2021?
Yeah, I think 21
So we had
because I think it was what.
Psychonauts. Okay, so we had Flight Simulator, right? For came
Mhm.
out on Xbox that year. Forza Horizon 5, Psychonauts 2, Halo Infinite. Those were the 4 games Microsoft released that year on Xbox. And they technically they had the Ascent, which was not their game, but it was a game that they were pushing on for Game Pass. So
Yeah, because that was their
I feel like there's
E3.
another game that year. But yeah, I mean those were the 4 games that Xbox put out that year. 2022, all right, they didn't put out a single game. Great. But I mean this year they have 4 games this year too, and the only one that looks like it's going to be a stinker is Redfall. 5 games this year. So if you Hi-Fi Rush,
Hi-Fi,
Hi-Fi Rush,
Redfall.
Minecraft, Legends, Redfall, Starfield, Forza. That's a
The
great
Ghostwire
lineup.
Tokyo
Yeah, but I don't
dropped
really
this year.
count that. I don't really count that or
Kind of
Deathloop
like that
because
kind of port.
they've already been out, right? And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean Ghostwire Tokyo came out this year on Xbox also, but I mean that came out last year technically, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess if you want to throw that in there, that's 6 games, right? So
Hmm.
I mean, also people are going to argue that Bethesda's doing the heavy lifting this year, but I'm like, okay, well, Xbox
I
bought them,
mean,
so they're part of
at
Xbox.
this,
So
but the thing about it is that they don't have no choice because at this time, yeah, with Playground delay. I mean, Playground working on uh Forza Motorsport. You know that got delayed a lot of times. Um, and now
Playground's
with
not working on Forza Motorsport. Playground's working on Fable.
Fable. I thought I'm thinking Playground with
Turn
Horizon
10
Turn
does
10.
Forza.
That's the thing about it. Playground, their name is more known because of the Horizon series,
Hmm.
and I think Forza Horizon. I gotta preface that, and I think because that series have kind of made the Forza series popular and well known that you just don't even think about Turn 10 in the regular Forza Motorsports part. Like you just don't think about it. So I think when I mentioned Playground, I thought of Forza, because Forza Horizon 5 was the last one. So that's
Yeah.
why I said Forza with Playground. I forgot Turn 10 and everything. But yeah, Playground is making Fable, right? They're
Yeah.
making Fable. The initiative is making Perfect Dark. And it
Well,
feels like,
that's up in the air too now. But
yeah.
I
And
think Crystal Dynamics has pretty much taken that project over, to be honest with you. I think that game is going to
oh,
be totally different than how they pitched it. I think it's going to be a third person action stealth game like Tomb Raider when they
I wouldn't be
re-reveal it.
surprised.
Just because like that's what Crystal Dynamics is known for, right? They don't make first person
Mhm.
shooters. What was the last first person game Crystal Dynamics worked on? No, I don't think they ever have.
Did they even make one?
Yeah, so
That's the question.
I'm telling
But
you, Crystal Dynamics Perfect Dark is going to be a third person action game, and it's going to be awesome.
and I know Avowed went dark after it was first shown. And I think that's the thing that's getting people mad at Xbox is that by the time we get to a lot of these games that they announced, it's gonna be the end of this console cycle. And I understand like the games now taking 5 to 6 years, but it kind of feels like sh- it kind of feels like then there needs to be some B team, C team games and stuff, because when and this is just my opinion, everybody, but when Series X did start off, it was the backwards compatible machine. Everybody was, they didn't have anything straight dedicated to Series X. And, and of course, they had to still make games for Series X and for Xbox One. I completely understand that. But people thought that with, you know, with with these announcements there would be some consistency. They were in factory in delays, and now that games for Xbox, even though they get announced, they have all led to a delay expectation. And it's just like, what's the point of even trying to buy first, or not buy, play first party games from Microsoft if most of these are going to get delayed and everything? Yes, it's great it's coming to Game Pass, but that don't mean nothing if there's no consistency on there.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I think Xbox is doing just fine. I think this year is great. Last year was really the only fumble. Redfall, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're in a great position. I think all the games they announced at the showcase were great. I think the things they have in development are going to be great. I think they have a great handle on the what you would call perimeter games like Hi-Fi Rush and
Mm-hmm.
Psychonauts and Grounded, and they have their games as a service like Sea of Thieves, and you know Fallout 76 is doing way better than it was at launch, and Elder Scrolls Online is doing great, and Halo it seems to be on track. So their games as a service is there. Obviously, Forza has kind of been handling the heavy duty stuff for a while. But now we're getting into the single player games that people have been wanting, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Starfield will be the big single player game this year. Hellblade is coming, Avowed is coming, Outer Worlds 2 is coming, Clockwork Revolution is coming, Fable is coming. Uh, you know, Elder Scrolls 6 is somewhere down the road, right? Like these games are happening. Gear 6 is probably well into development. Perfect Dark is in development. Everwild is somewhere in development, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
State of Decay is coming. And Exile has another project that they're working on. Obsidian has another project that they're working on outside of Avowed and the Outer Worlds
Well,
2. So, plus you kind of look at what Bethesda's doing. Indiana Jones is coming. Whatever it is working on, the rumor is Quake is probably going to be announced at QuakeCon. Uh, Wolfenstein 3, whatever Machine Games is working on outside of Indiana Jones, will probably be announced at QuakeCon. Uh, so I think Xbox is good for a while. I
but
know people have been waiting, and as an Xbox fan, it has been frustrating at points. But also, there's enough other things on Xbox to kind of substantiate people's need to play games. Plus, Game Pass is great. Like, I don't know. I don't have any kind of worry about Xbox like I did like a year ago.
I mean, my worry is just the consistency of release games from their first party, and I think that's why.
Well, we're getting to that point where they're going to release one a quarter. now, right? And if they don't stick to
Right.
that,
And
then look, I think if they release 3 games a year, they will be on par with Sony. How many games has Sony released this year? What first party
I
games
think
has
they
Sony released this year?
was Horizon this year?
No,
I know Spider-Man.
it's
Well,
not
they
out yet.
have PSVR. They have PSVR too.
Okay, well, big flop. So, okay, so they had Horizon Call of the Mountain was their first party game this
Yeah,
year.
I think that was the. I think that was the one.
Yeah.
And then
So,
Spider-Man too. Yeah, because Gran Turismo 7 was last year, or was yeah, Gran Turismo 7 was last year for their March, I believe.
yeah,
Oh,
but that was
it's the
last year.
it's
I'm
the
talking about this year.
this year. Yeah, I mean it's the same thing. Like I said, this goes along with Sony. Because don't forget Corey, when we talked about Switch being announced and everything, people were concerned. They were clowning Nintendo. Oh, they're not going to
Yeah.
have a no big games and stuff and everything. And
Yes,
then
because of
Nintendo
the
just threw out.
because well, it's because of the history of the Wii U, right? And the 3DS.
Hmm?
Like we would go remember when we first started the show, like we were covering the Wii U and we would go long stretches without any Wii U games to talk about. We were talking about 3DS and
Hmm?
we were literally dissecting the box of the new 2DS XL when I bought it.
Yeah,
I remember distinctly we were sitting there and we are like, "Oh, look at the packaging. It's super nice and look at the console. It's super sleek." But we weren't talking about any games. Like we were talking like the last games before Zelda we were talking about were like Paper Mario or what was it? Was it Mario Tennis or Paper Mario that came out that year?
I think it's Paper Mario.
Yeah, and like but then what? You know, and we had some 3DS games, right? Like I think Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon were or Ultra something were out that year.
Hmm.
But like Nintendo was in a funk until Zelda came out. And then like it wasn't until the Switch where like we got like really excited to talk about Nintendo again because we had a new game every month. We had indies starting to pour in. We had weird indie games like Snake Pass and Mr. Shifty and you
Hmm.
know, Shovel Knight ended up putting out Spectre Knight on Switch first. Like there was a ton to talk about on Switch. Binding of Isaac got a physical release, which was exciting for people. Uh, Street Fighter was really cool. Like we had games finally. And then like that fall we got excited for like Wolfenstein and Skyrim and Doom
Yeah,
being announced and it was man that for those first couple years of the Switch doing this show were super fun. Super fun.
yeah, and Nintendo themselves were just releasing, whether successful or not, they were releasing first party games, and I think that's the.
Yeah, but the difference is like Nintendo doesn't rely on third party games the way that Xbox and PlayStation do.
Mhm.
PlayStation has sold 37 million units based on what three first party games and a ton of third party games. Like, granted, Horizon is incredible. God of War, people love God of War, and Gran Turismo is Gran Turismo. You
Mhm.
know, and obviously, like at launch, they had Ratchet and Clank and uh, what was Housemarque's game, Returnal, and
Returnal.
they had the Demon Souls remake, and you know
Yeah.
PlayStation's had some pretty strong titles, but I saw a comparison online the other day where Xbox's first party output since all the acquisitions and stuff has been on par or higher than PlayStation's, except for Redfall. And everybody keeps saying Xbox has no games. Yes, I get it. Last year they didn't release a
It's-
single title
So
except for Pentiment and
my
Grounded.
and I feel like I wouldn't say that Xbox don't have no games. If people going to me, if people going to make that statement, just say Xbox don't have no games for me that I like. You cannot say that Xbox don't have no games because
But
they
I don't
got
understand
games.
when but I don't understand when people say that. That's like we were just talking
Be-
about if that was hindering Xbox by having a
because
diverse lineup, but like
be, because that's the thing that happens
so
with
the only
Nintendo
thing they don't
also.
but the only thing you don't have is like that really strong third person action presence. Is that your favorite game is a third person action game? Because there's a console for you. It's called PlayStation.
But the thing of what that's why I said the same thing happens with Nintendo. It's that people just like, well, Nintendo, their direct is not for me, or they don't have the games for that for me. You can't say. I mean, if they don't have the games for you, you still cannot say that. Oh, this company don't or Nintendo don't have games and everything. You
Mhm.
cannot deny. Then you can't sit back and be upset or mad that the game that is not for you is hitting 1 or 2 million sales. It's
Mhm.
doing numbers that you didn't want it to do and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Like,
I
and I'm not just, and I'm not mad at Xbox or anything, but I just feel like the consistency of their first party, this was the problem that I kind of have with them. You can have all these acquisitions with all of these studios and everything. Great. There should be no way that you have, I would say, I rounded up to 20 studios. I don't know how many, they probably got more or less,
I
but
think
I'm gonna
I
say for
think
20
it's
studios.
hold on. I'll look it up. You
They,
just keep talking.
because ZeniMax have about, I think, 12 or 13
I think they
or
have
something, or
I
maybe close to 10. But 20 studios, just say there's no way that out of these all these studios that you have, that there isn't there's only about 3 or 4 games that's out. I would at least expect, and I don't even, and even with Double Fine and stuff, I don't even need a 10 to 20 hour game that's big and cinematic and single player. If you want to put something that's indie, 5 or 6 hour, indie feel kind of game, do it. Shoot, we love Box Boy and Box Girl.
Yeah, but
You
that's where
go
a game
have
like
something.
that's where like something like Pentiment comes in.
Right, and I think that's what I would love more for Xbox to have.
But
Just have
that's
some
all
of
they
these
have.
smaller
That's
games.
all they have. The issue with Xbox is they're not putting out their AAA games. They have the stuff on the outside.
But
They have
where?
that. What do you mean where? You're clearly not paying attention. So I
Where in the fact that it is more consistent that being noticed, I should say.
I'm just saying they've been really great about having the smaller titles out and around. Right. Minecraft Legends, Minecraft Dungeons,
Mm-hmm.
Psychonauts, Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Grounded. Those games are great games that are supplementary to
Yeah,
the AAA games.
they are. So, but there should be more if you have at least all of these studios.
Okay, but do you know how long it takes to make a video game, Ed?
Now it's 5 to 6, which is weird because I thought Unreal Engine 5 was supposed to
No,
cut
it
that.
that doesn't make it
If they said,
easier. That doesn't make it easier to develop a game just because name says Unreal doesn't make it easier to develop a game. And the engine isn't even fully developed yet. Like it's
mm.
still like not 100% done. That's not how game development works, dude.
But
Like it's just
but that was the thing that when people said we're moving our projects to Unreal Engine 5.
it's
Okay,
it's
I can
because
understand a
the
delay.
the reason why they're moving it to Unreal Engine 5 is because a lot of people use that engine and Epic has a
Hmm.
huge engineering team that can help people with it instead of building a proprietary engine. This was the issue with Halo and why Halo took so long is because the Slipspace engine was a proprietary engine to 343 only and they couldn't
Yeah.
ask the company that made the engine for help because they were the company that made the engine and they had to figure it out themselves. Whereas if you go to Unreal, you can go to Epic, you can go to the Coalition, you can go to any of these studios who are working on it and say, "Hey, I'm having an issue with this. Do you have a thing? Do you have knowledge on how this works?" And then you can kind of work with the internal teams that you have. You can work with other studios. You can go to Epic and say, "Hey, this is the issue we're having. Do you have something that you've been working on for this?" And then they can, make a ticket, a help ticket, and then they can
Hmm.
figure out that and then they get back to you. That's why Unreal Engine is so important.
And,
It's not that it
and
makes game development easier. It's just a
that's
more
what they
universal engine.
that's what it was kind of stated that it was supposed to help
It
cut
wasn't
down
stated that way.
development time and everything.
It wasn't stated that way, but
Earlier it did.
no, it wasn't. they were showing off the nanotechnology, which is an interesting tech on how to make things more detailed, but that doesn't mean it's easier to develop.
Well, it sounded like they were just like, this is supposed to cut down time.
It, it
I know you mad at
eventually,
me.
even no, I'm just arguing with you because that's what we do on the show. Um, I think you just don't. I mean, I don't
Well,
understand it, so I
well,
don't.
because this is, I think this is, and that's why we had that discussion. I think even last week or one of the expansion pass, like my biggest thing is that if you got all of this power, don't have all the cutscene stuff. Which one I was? I think I was watching last week's expansion pass, about this, and I think with Microsoft, and I'm not trying to knock them down or anything, but people like if they invest all of this money into your system, they, because look, Nintendo did it with the N64, even with their own first party and outside the third party stuff. We all know about that in PlayStation. But like the N64 didn't have a big collection from Nintendo and everything. And after N64, they had to move to GameCube, and try to get games on there. And Nintendo was still trying to do everything to have some great first party games and stuff. And I think at that time we weren't worried about release dates. We were just like, oh, we're just getting a new game from them and everything. And when we got that new game, once again, up to the player if it was fun or not, it was going to be something memorable. And as much as people would just want to knock GameCube and it had the lowest sales, I'm like, people are hyped for the GameCube stuff that get re-released now on Switch.
Yeah, but that's
And people
always
now
been
want to play all of those
people.
games.
People
Oh, go ahead.
always like the previous Nintendo console more, right? I mean, Wii U games are skyrocketing in price.
Mm-hmm.
You know that? I mean, like just because GameCube games weren't readily available because there weren't that many consoles out there, right? So a lot of the games were kind of short printed because there weren't as many Wii U's out there. I mean, so show and tell time, real quick. So I finally found a copy of Twilight Princess for GameCube. This version means a lot to me in a lot of different ways. Uh, I've told the story 100 times on the show. Maybe we'll talk about it on an expansion pass at some point. But like the Twilight Princess version of for Wii U is way more expensive than this. Like
Mm-hmm.
by like
Yeah.
$30 or $40, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
And the
I mean,
crazy thing
it's
is,
not
like,
ridiculous, but I mean,
at the time when the Wii U version came out, like years later, you was able to get that game for like $20 and nobody was buying it.
dude, it was $9.99 at Toys R Us when it closed because
That's insane.
I bought an extra copy
Mm-hmm.
and left it sealed, and I ended up giving it to my cousin, and I wish I wouldn't have, but that's you know whatever. But yeah, I mean this game just means a lot to me. So
I remember it was my Christmas gift, uh, on GameCube. And then when I got my Wii, I went out and brought the Wii version.
yeah, I mean I bought the Wii version, but I also had the GameCube version pre-ordered, and I ended up playing the GameCube version on my Wii. So with my orange GameCube controller.
Oh wow!
So rip Wii, you sucked.
You know
Anyways,
what?
dude, I hate the Wii. The Wii, I hated the Wii so much.
Everybody
That's how
go
I
check
became.
our ranking Nintendo.
That's how I became like a major Xbox fan, is because the Wii. I hated the Wii, and I wanted a console with a controller, and I got the Xbox because A, it was cheaper, but B, like Oblivion, Gears of War looked incredible.
Oh,
So
360.
yeah,
Oh shoot, I avoided 360 because I'm like that red ring and the controller
well,
was terrible. I was just
this was in
like,
two thousand.
I
Dude, this was in
couldn't.
2006. So nobody knew about the Red Ring yet. So, uh, man, dude, Gears of War
But shoot,
and Oblivion, incredible games. Incredible games. That's all I have to say.
well, Gears of War is incredible, but it's to me it took the remaster and the Xbox One controller to make that game better.
It's the same game. It's literally the same game with a new coat of paint over it. There's literally
even
nothing.
though that
There's literally nothing different about it except it looks better.
even though that is true and everything, I cannot
Oh my
use that
gosh,
360 controller.
you're the worst.
I'm
So
not the worst.
you use the Paper Light 6-axis controller for PlayStation. God,
Um,
I hate
I
the
had the
PlayStation
Slim
3.
version. I had the PlayStation 3 Slim. Slim was better than
Yeah, because it was half the price and they took half the garbage out that you didn't need. And
yeah.
they actually packed a real controller with it. So,
Yes, and plus that system was already updated, and the
yeah.
UI and everything. And plus, I'm in the world of blues. I think, I, of course, yes, you don't like the Wii. I don't like the 360. You know,
I mean that's
uh,
fine.
I think we definitely can both agree. Like Xbox One was great. Like I love the Xbox One. Um, I have no problem with Series X. Of course, I'm always gonna love the Wii U. Um, uh, yeah,
Yeah, I don't yeah, the Wii U is great. I love the Wii U.
yeah.
It's
And I love the Wii.
the Wii sucks,
I
man.
think it just did something different. I think for me for games.
The best part about the Wii, honestly, it was Virtual Console. It was
But yeah,
by far the best part of that game of that
and
system.
Netflix
Yeah,
and Hulu.
yeah. Well,
And plus,
did
shoot,
that on my.
I enjoyed doing the surveys too, and the music was good on like the startup music
No, it wasn't.
on Wii was good.
No, it wasn't. I'm just
We're
messing
gonna
with you now.
Dragon Punch you one day.
Mm,
Ah,
yeah, I mean the Wii was fine. I just hate motion controls. I also I was really fascinated with HD gaming at that point because my parents had gotten
mm-hmm.
an HD TV. I was still playing my 360 on a standard definition TV, but I used to take it downstairs and plug it into their HD TV, and oh my gosh, it was incredible. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
Fight Night
I
Round
didn't
3
do.
on an HD TV on oh my gosh, that
Uh,
game was incredible. That game was awesome.
I I didn't do my HD. Like my first HD TV was when I got my PlayStation 3. Um, and
Yeah. Well,
everything. Yeah, it
the
was.
PlayStation 3 was nice because it actually had an HDMI out, whereas the first run of Xbox 360s did not have HDMI. It was only component cables,
Yeah,
and you had to buy them separately, which was just as awful. Um, so I guess
I
there's
mean,
that.
because I didn't really do like a lot of digital purchases. A lot
Uh,
of the stuff that I got on PlayStation 3, like outside like first party and stuff, there is some third party games that I got when it's like first release, but a lot of the stuff like having my library on PlayStation 3 was used games and stuff. Or what like but once like PlayStation Plus came out and the sales was happening almost every week and stuff, I was buying games because a lot of them were cheap on the digital platform and stuff.
yeah, I think the first digital game I bought was Assassin's Creed, the first one. Um, and because they had that I don't know the way that when Xbox announced that they were releasing digital versions of physical games, that was how they marketed
Hmm.
it, and they would the digital versions would come later, but they were also really expensive. Like Assassin's Creed 1 was part of that first run of releases, and the
Yeah,
digital version was $60 when we were on Assassin's Creed Revelations at that point or something, and I was like, I
get
have a
this.
physical copy of Assassin's Creed. But then it was on sale for $20 and I was like, sure. Let's try out this digital future everybody's raving about.
Yeah, I think my digital purchase definitely would have to been Wii with the virtual console stuff. But I
Yeah,
think
well,
some of it has
virtual
to be
console.
like 3DS.
I mean, virtual console and Summer of Arcade stuff didn't doesn't I don't really count that stuff because
But you're
those were
talking about
download
like
only.
games.
Yeah, I'm talking about like the big AAA releases at that point. I mean, like
Um,
Braid and like Castle Crashers and uh Limbo and what was that one game that Epic released under Chair, the Metroidvania game. Oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
oh, uh,
Oh, I don't remember.
Shadow something,
Shadow Complex. Thank you.
Shadow Complex. Yeah,
Yeah, like all those
that
games
was
were like,
that was the controversy game because of the author.
why everybody loved that game
Yeah,
when
but
it came out.
it's based. But the author he was a homophobe, and
Oh,
they didn't know that he was like that type of person. Because Shadow Complex was based off one of his works, one of his books,
hmm
and it didn't come out about him until the game actually got released. Um, so
yeah, but also I think at that time in the early 2000s, nobody, I I mean, wrongfully so, but nobody cared. You know what I mean? Like,
hmm.
I just feel like nobody really took that into consideration, really.
Well, yeah, I think the thing about it is like just people just didn't know. Um, because at the time people didn't know that it was based on a book's work, based
No, I think people
on
knew it was
his
based on
work.
a book. I I think people knew it was based
I
on a book.
I I didn't because I really thought that it was just independent game from Epic and everything. Because I had never heard of the title and had never heard of that author and everything. He was just somebody that was never just mentioned until the game got released and stuff. And I think that's when people started digging into more of that because this it wasn't really like social media kind of doing stuff like if you are that kind of person, you got a game coming out, people can react and interact and stuff. It wasn't like that when Shadow Complex came out until it got to like it got reported and stuff.
Yeah. If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/bossrushmedia, and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support. Long
But
pause.
yeah, but I think we'll just have to see what Microsoft does. I think Nintendo themselves, um, they put in a lot of work to get a lot of their games. Of course, even during the pandemic and everything, even with Zelda being delayed, I think they have had a strong output when it comes to games. But just first party wise, I'm like, I, I can't deny you can't deny them that they have a very strong first party, and
Oh,
even when
I
it was
wasn't.
just
I wasn't denying that. I think Nintendo has the best first party output out of any of the companies. My point is that like Nintendo relies way more on their first party output, so they
Mhm.
have a lot of internal teams and they have a lot of external partners that are willing to put work on these titles.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have a strong relationship with Bandai Namco, with Tecmo Koei, with Platinum. You know, uh, some of these other companies that have been making games for
Mercury
them, and it's
Steam,
yeah,
wait for it.
yeah. So I mean, they have a great relationship with these companies that will work on games for them, so they're quote unquote major teams can get these big tentpole titles out, right? I mean, I think
Hmm.
also they the best selling game on the console is a game from the Wii U that's 10 or 11 years old at this point. So they've also been really focused on re-releases as well, and that's kind of helped pad
Yeah.
out the first party output, and I think Nintendo has the advantage of not a lot of people playing these games on the Wii U because nobody bought a Wii U, and so these are kind of like new experiences for people, you know. And uh, you know, you look at some of the GameCube and Wii remasters like Xenoblade and Metroid, and uh, I think Nintendo's done a great job of managing. Here's a new release. Here's a remake. Here's a remaster. Here's, you know, someone from a second party working on something for us. I think they've done a masterful job this generation of managing their games and their IP and which games are going where. And you know, even the many rumors of them holding games off the Wii U so they could release them in a cadence on the Switch because they felt that the Switch was going to be a better fit and a better console.
Hmm.
No sense of putting games on a dying console when you have one coming out that's has potential to do great. And obviously the Switch is doing great. You know, they're at 130 million units or something at this point,
I
closing
think
in on
so.
that
Yeah.
top spot. And you know, I think Nintendo has just done a masterful job, and they don't rely on the third party because they can't, you know, and that's to this generation. It's been to their strength. I think that could, if they make a wrong decision or a wrong move with this next console, that could be really detrimental to them at some point. But as of right now, Nintendo's done a masterful job of managing their IP and their games, and you can't deny that, which is something that Microsoft has not done in terms of their major third party, which is why they're making these acquisitions, which is why they're prepping these teams to get these games out. And you know, uh, it's I mean they're on the right track, but if they're not Nintendo, and no them or Sony are never going to be Nintendo in that
Yeah.
way, you know. So
But I guess it just feels like with me, my quick logic is or thinking is just like I guess because you acquired so much in studios and everything, and of course you allow them to bring out their dream game and stuff. You would think that with all of these companies that you owe, at least there would be game after game, or even after 2 months, a game come out. Like you would think that at least with Series X, more games would be out from their first party, you know. And it just feels like with these acquisitions and stuff, what are we getting out from them? Because we haven't really got a lot from them and everything. Yeah, Bethesda is a big name. Arcade is a big name, but I'm like, what about the other companies is in the max? You know, what about Microsoft Studios themselves that they created that they haven't acquired? I'm like, how many teams do you have there getting the game out? And it's just like, is it going to be that for your future that
yeah, but
once you
now
get a box, it's only going to be like one game per studio, and that's it to their next system? That's that
yeah, I mean
that.
that's yes, that's how PlayStation has been doing it, and that's how
Mm,
Xbox will be doing it. That's game development. That's what it's taking now, and we're starting to talk in circles. And I don't want to keep doing that, but yes, if a generation lasts 7 or 8 years and it takes 5 years to deliver a game, yes, you're only going to get one game per studio, one AAA game per studio per console. Now, granted, you could get smaller games, right? Like Double Fine could probably put out 2 or 3 games a console generation,
mm-hmm,
right? Uh, and also it depends on if studios have more than one team, also, right? Like Obsidian has put out 4 games on Series X already, you know, and maybe three, four, three, whatever. You know, they have teams of varying sizes and games of varying sizes. And Exile has teams of varying sizes, right? They have 2 teams.
yeah.
Ninja Theory has 2 teams. Um, the Coalition has 2 teams, but right now it's all hands on deck for Gears because they need it. And I think when it comes to that, you gotta manage it that way. Machine Games has, you know, 1.5 teams really, right? Like they have the, whatever game is in pre-production and whatever game is in full development, and they probably shift team members over to whichever game they need out faster at the time,
Mm.
and so it's just not how game development works anymore. I mean,
And it,
look at Zelda. Like Zelda is essentially the same. They use the same map essentially. Granted, there's a lot that
mm,
has changed within the map, so you could argue that, but essentially the same map, same topography, same art style, same Link's animations are exactly the same. A lot
mm.
of the armor sets are the same. A lot of the assets are the same, and it still took them 6 years to make Zelda. So we still technically only got one Zelda this generation. Yes, a lot of people played Breath of the Wild on the Switch, but it was technically a Wii U game. I think a lot of people forget that,
Yeah.
you know? And so we only got one Mario game this generation. We only got one Smash Brothers. Mario Kart was a port. We didn't even get a Mario Kart. We got one Animal
Yeah.
Crossing. We're still only getting one game per generation from these IP. It's just Nintendo has a lot of resources to pull from. Also, their games probably don't cost as much, right? I mean, Zelda, yeah, is probably a massive budget, right? And maybe they, you know, maybe Zelda's a bad example, but like you can't look at me and tell me that Zelda's production values are as high as something like Horizon, because they don't have the cinematics, they don't have the art style is different, the cinematics, the voice acting, the
Mm.
actors they have to hire, the motion capture. Nintendo doesn't really do a lot of that or any of that in a lot of cases. And so that saves them a lot of money. And using tech that's, 5 to 10 years old in their next console saves them a lot of money. They're very efficient and they're very smart about how they do things, you know? And I think that works to their advantage in a lot of ways to getting a lot of these smaller games out as well. Because you look at games on, I mean, look at the PlayStation 3, for example. Naughty Dog put out 4 games on the PlayStation 3. Uncharted, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, and The Last of Us, right? How many
I
games did
feel
they
like there
put out
was
on
one
PlayStation
more.
4? They put out 2 games on PlayStation 4, right? Uncharted 4,
For
which was like in development hell for a long time. Also, this is with 2 teams, by the way. You know, Naughty Dog then merged both teams to get Uncharted 4 out the door. And then they made The Last of Us Part 2, which came out 4 years later.
right.
So it's just game development, man. Takes a long time. Games are hard.
But yeah, I understand that. I understand games are hard. I guess I just wish that there were. I guess there. I just feel like there was more reward for the investment and everything. And I feel like
I mean, that's
I'm
why these
getting
games are
more.
so big now, though, right? I mean, that's why everything is
Mhm.
an open world. That's why every game is 80 hours long, because games are expensive. Like they're $70 and $80 now.
Well,
And it's like
yeah,
if
I
you don't
understand.
if you don't get like a Witcher sized game or an Assassin's Creed
Mm,
Odyssey sized game for your $70, it's like, why did I pay that much money? And I'm not saying that I'm like that. I think something like Tomb Raider or Uncharted are totally worth $60 or $70, right?
yeah,
But like, remember how many people were complaining that Link's Awakening was $60
$60.
when it came out?
Yeah,
And I'm like, what are you talking about? This game's incredible. $60. It should be like $100. This game's incredible.
and there's a lot in that game if you haven't played the original version on Game Boy.
Yeah, but then they start comparing like, well, this is a 15-hour game compared to Breath of the Wild, which could be, upward. I mean, I spent 220 hours in that game or something
Hmm.
ridiculous like that for the same $60. I'm probably going to put at least that into Tears of the Kingdom at some point. So I don't know. I think these free to play games that have been coming out have really shifted people's uh thought on how much games should cost. Um I mean,
That
and I see
that
I see
one
it.
is kind
I
of
mean,
just weird to me with the cost of games
yeah, I mean,
when it comes to certain platforms.
yeah,
Per se.
and I mean, I see it on Twitter and I see it on Discord and like chats that we're in and all these things of people complaining about how much games cost, and it's like gaming is an expensive hobby. If you don't want to pay for games, find a new hobby, right? I mean, it just these developers deserve the money that you're paying them, and if you want to wait for a sale, then wait for a sale, right? But like gaming's expensive. It's always going to be expensive. It's not going to get any cheaper. It's actually cheaper than it's ever been if you adjust for inflation. I mean,
Hmm.
I paid $100 for Tony Hawk on the Nintendo 64. I paid $80 for Turok, and games were so expensive, right? I mean, and the only reason why the price came down is because discs became a thing, and
Yeah,
discs were
yeah.
easier to manufacture, and cartridges were not. Um, and that's why
Where
games
like
became 40 and $50.
because it was like this were like 54 to $1.54 to produce each, and so if you're charging 49.99 on it, you're
Hmm.
just without on the disc, and this is like just I'm saying PlayStation 1 and Xbox
Hmm.
days, these companies were making bank. They were easier. I mean, the development time was what it was, but I'm like, to put the information and get that stuff pressed, that
Hmm.
was cheap.
Yeah.
Nintendo was spending about what, $5 to $10 on a cartridge with the N64, and that's even with all the stuff that went on with Nintendo, when they switched to the mini disc, that was saving Nintendo even more money because it was cheap. It was a
Well,
medium that nobody really was like mini
well,
disc.
that
Nobody really was using.
the mini discs were more expensive than the regular discs because of the form
Thought it
factor,
was cheaper.
which is why the UMDs that uh, Sony
Sony,
was using
the
for PSP
PSP.
were also more expensive. And then they had that dumb plastic case around them.
Yeah,
But I don't know, man. I just it always irritates me when people complain about how expensive games are. And I'm talking about people we know, I'm talking about people we don't know. Like everybody just complains about how expensive games are. It's like, well, then you can't play games if you don't pay for them, right? I mean, like you're going to be stuck with Fortnite and Apex, and
my
how many people complain about those games all the time? So just
my thing is that if you're gonna complain about a game and stuff about purchasing, please don't. Please, not don't let me find out that you have Game Pass and you're complaining about a price point for a game,
yeah, I mean
because of those
that's the thing
games.
too. Is like PlayStation Plus and Game Pass are so cheap, right? Like, I mean,
Mhm.
Game Pass, like for a whole year of Game Pass is the price of three full price games. You know, and PlayStation, I don't know how much PlayStation Plus the extra tier at least is like. I think it's about as much as Game Pass Ultimate, right? Like, it's so cheap, and there's so many games on these services. There's
Right.
something like 400 games on Game Pass right now, and for 10 like as $10 to $15, well, I think it's 11 or $16 a month now, right? Like,
Yeah, I think it went up.
let's
I don't
see.
know.
Xbox Game Pass. There are 387 games on Xbox Game Pass right now.
Mm.
387 games on
And
Game Pass. You're telling
and
me
you
for
got all of
$10
their.
you can't find one or two games a month to play for $10?
It's not even that. You got pretty much their whole first party from their Xbox One and maybe 360 and Xbox One days
Yeah.
on Game Pass.
Yep. I
Like,
mean,
you're getting their whole good library.
yeah, plus like Ubisoft has two Assassin's Creed games on here. Uh, Batman's on here. I'm just going through. I'm just scrolling down looking for third party games.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are a ton of third party games that support it. There's great indies like Death's Door is still on Game Pass, Tunic's on Game Pass, Eastward is on Game Pass, Unchained Echoes is on Game Pass, Sea of Stars is coming to Game Pass. Like it's just like I don't know what people want. I think people just like to complain for the sake of complaining, and I think that's the real problem. Also, is like this age
I
of
think
social
it's
media just gives people a platform to just say whatever they want and complain,
I
which
think
is
it's
like,
the complaint. I think it's the complaint to complain to complain because I'm like, if you're gonna make this big argument,
mhm,
then I need to know if you're going to get the game or not. Let's quit all the yickety yak, the all the talk. Let me know if you're getting the game or not. If you're not going to get it, then don't say no more. Say your piece. I can't believe it's this price, and let it alone. Don't jump
mhm.
in nobody else's mentions, nobody else's comments, and let's not talk about price. You were already not planning to get the game, so the price shouldn't even matter to you.
Yeah, and like also like Xbox and PlayStation give away games every month for, the basic tier. Like
Right,
PlayStation's games this month are pretty decent, right? Like I think Alan Wake is one. What is it? I think Call of Duty Cold War is one, and there's one other one. But like those are massive games that like
right.
they're just giving you. And so, granted, they're older games, but whatever.
They're
Like,
still games.
yeah, and Xbox gives away a couple games every month, although their games with gold has been pretty. Uh,
Lackluster.
yeah, they've been pretty lackluster
It's
recently.
kind of been fading away a little bit
Yeah,
because
well, I
like
think they're trying to
they don't
push you to Game
promote it.
Pass.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, though, right? With like a year of Xbox live gold and normal and like a year of normal Game Pass
Hmm.
is the same price as Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And I think they want you to get that Ultimate and then like look how much stuff you get with Ultimate. You get cloud gaming, you get EA Play, uh, you know, I think there's other things that you get with it too.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure. I don't really look into
and
it, but like
that's why I think that's why even when me and Jack wrote about that piece about the Nintendo Expansion Pass being $50 per year, you know,
that's a
it,
great deal
we
too though.
that's a great deal, and we had a great article, a great discussion, and we both made great points. And the thing about it is just like you're getting four systems with a variety of games that's from the past that is releasing now. Is you got Nintendo, you got Super Nintendo, you got N64, you got Sega Genesis, you got Game Boy, you got Game Boy Advance, you got six systems with games still being added on there.
Plus
You
you get
know,
plus you get games like Tetris 99
Tetris
and
99,
there's free games that you
the
get.
expansion
There's
pass.
You get all the, the Mario Kart DLC, you got the Animal Crossing DLC, you got the Splatoon
Hmm.
DLC, you're getting new DLC in the future. Like, what do you want for $50 a year? Like, what
And
do you?
that's
I just,
a year, not monthly payments, a year.
yeah, it's just people are so entitled to, and they feel like they're so entitled to have everything available to them all at once for nothing. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd say it's this generation, but I know people that are older than I am that are also complaining about this. So it's not just a quote unquote younger generation or a millennial or
Hmm.
Zoomer generation. It's the internet age, and it's just like just stop. If you don't want to pay for things, find a new hobby. Go draw a picture. Go watch TV. I don't understand what people want anymore, man. Like I get that things are expensive and things are going to keep getting expensive, but like gaming's cheaper than ever and there's so much more variety than ever
Yeah,
for cheaper than ever. And I just don't understand what people want, man.
and each platform offers something. That's
Yeah.
the thing about it. It's
And
just
like
like you.
there's digital sales all the time. There's physical sales all the time. If you follow Wario 64 or Cheap Ass Gamer or, people like them, you find the deals all the time for physical
Right.
games. Xbox had their summer gaming sales coming up soon. right? Like I think
I wonder how
you know,
that's gonna be.
well, I think next week there after the what is it, the ID at Xbox thing that's happening next week. There's going to be like another indie sale. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like I just don't understand.
There's ways to acquire games at reasonable prices if you go out and look for it.
Yeah.
You know, as much as people talk about Nintendo still charging $60 for this game, and it's been for 4 years, at least Nintendo said, "Hey, we're telling you now we value our games at this price because da
Hmm.
da da this and da da that." So when we drop it 40, if we drop it to $40 some or $30 some, cop it. It's a discount. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But this is our IP. We we are the ones that paid for it to get developed and stuff. So we could charge whatever we want.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know,
It's just it's been really kind of annoying. Really, I don't know, man. I this is why I don't like people. They're just all everybody just complains all the time.
I'm
Uh,
sorry, Corey.
oh man,
Please
like
love me.
half the games on my wish list are on sale. By the way, I'm thinking,
For what? Xbox.
yeah, for 4 more days. What does that put me at? Let's see, 4 days. So,
So
all right, maybe Monday I'll check
Monday.
back in. Um, yeah, I'll look at it later.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's a lot of cool games on sale.
and like that. That's why I get the Nintendo games, but I haven't got everybody wants to switch yet. I didn't even get the first one to switch, but it's just like I know that if I don't cop this game, if I don't cut this game at the time that it comes out, it's gonna. If I ever want it, it's gonna be not for sale, and somebody's gonna resell it for a higher price. Check all past Nintendo games, and I rather just like I rather pay at this price and get it done with. If I want to wait for a sale, I'll wait for a sale.
Yeah, so sorry, that felt like an old man rant, like get off my lawn type rant, but it just
And I know, yeah, and I know everybody. We talked a lot about Xbox, but like once again, like it. We last week we talked about Nintendo and Xbox and what they could do on the next gen system and their relationship, and we're rooting for Xbox. I feel like they are in a good spot, but I know that they could be in a better spot and
yeah. Well,
everything. And I'm
I think they're in a way better spot than they were during the Xbox One days. You know.
Yes, that I will agree. And I'm not, and I think Phil Spencer is just like, look, we hear the talks, we hear the discussions. We know you guys want more games for us, but if it's going to take time and everything to make things better and make sure that what we give you is a great quality experience, that's what we're going to do. You know, and I could understand that. I truly can understand that. With Phil Spencer saying that.
Hmm.
I just wish that I guess like for me, and that's why I say it's a personal thing. I just wish there were just a little bit more releases from them and stuff. The Not so much to tie me over, but I'm like I want to be hyped more for Xbox, and I want to have a big first party lineup for Xbox and everything, whether it's physical or digital. I want to have that because look, as much as I play Nintendo and I congratulate Nintendo, Nintendo is giving everything that I want and need with their first party. And so that's why I'm rooting so hard for them. That's why I twirl and jump for joy for their games and everything and try to get as much as I can. There's still some titles that I'm missing that I need to go back and get. But that's why I am not saying the fanboy or anything or the hype for Nintendo, but I'm like, this is what I've been getting from Nintendo ever since I was a kid. This is what made me a Nintendo fan ever since I got an NES. What's their first party stuff? And throughout the years, they've been delivering quality first party stuff on a consistent basis, regardless
Hmm.
of what the platform is. And I kind of want that same thing to happen with Microsoft. I'm not saying I'm not a big Xbox fan or anything, but I do enjoy their games. as much as y'all see me, as much as people see me pre-ordering and twirling for Nintendo games, Corey, you know, don't I tell you that? Oh, I'm pre-ordering this stuff for Xbox. You know how much I pre-order stuff for Xbox.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like
I know.
we had our Game Pass discussion, but you know that I'm just like I'm supporting it in this manner over the other manner.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what an episode 350 this was.
Yeah, I know. I feel like we just complain the whole time. It's fine. We're old curmudgeon.
not not so much complain. I think like I said, Nintendo is such in a good spot, and I think we want to see that same spot for Xbox with Microsoft. That they get into a good spot where that when Nintendo's next gen come out, I want Microsoft to stuff be on Nintendo stuff if they can. I
Yeah.
mean, outside of Minecraft and stuff. Shoot, if
Yeah, I mean,
Nintendo's, if Nintendo's willing to give them a development kit to make games, do it.
yeah. I think we're going to. I think we're going to see that at some point. I think whatever Nintendo's next console is, I think Microsoft's going to try
Mm.
really hard to get some sort of version of Game Pass on there. I really do. I
Yeah,
think they want it on PlayStation, to be honest with you. But I don't know. I don't think Sony wants you logging into your Xbox Live account on PlayStation. So
shoot, Nintendo allows it with the Minecraft games.
yeah, I know.
So
But also
so
Minecraft isn't something like Starfield or Halo, you know. It's
oh
not
yeah,
exactly
true,
graphically intensive.
true. But
So.
I'm like, hey,
Also, did you see during the FTC reporting that happened? Like, I think by the time this episode comes out to everybody, we might have a verdict on that. But like, did you see
yeah,
that
we're
my
supposed to have it. Oh, go ahead.
did you see that Minecraft makes 4 times the amount of money that it does on every other platform? And like,
Yeah,
I forget if it was 4 times the amount that it does on Xbox or 8 times or something, and 4 times
it
more
was
than
eight
PlayStation.
times. It was eight
But
times
like,
because it makes the
it's just so
was it
funny.
the most on right? Was it
Well,
most of
it's the
the
most
Switch
it's the most on Switch for consoles.
consoles?
They didn't count PC and mobile because like
Yeah,
obviously PC is its own kind of thing, but
yeah,
it's just really it's just really funny.
yeah. I think we're supposed to get it. So we're recording on a Thursday, and we're supposed to get the verdict Friday. Possibility. I know everybody say it was possible throughout the week, but we didn't get anything. But Friday we're supposed to get it. So, um, we will find out. That's a I I don't know how that's gonna all turn out. I have a feeling that we'll probably get it in like sometime in the afternoon. So I think we'll be checking like IGN and GameSpot, I should say, and like Game Informer. Definitely checking Game Informer stuff. Um, to see what and of course Twitter and stuff to see what the breaking news is, and um, hopefully it comes to a conclusion, and whether the deal goes through or not, this would be our last time talking about Activision and Microsoft. Which I
Yeah, I
think
mean, regardless
I
if it goes through, I think Microsoft will just walk away at the end of this if it doesn't go through. I don't think they're going to keep pursuing it.
I think they're just gonna hand over the 3 billion and keep it
Good,
moving.
they can go after Sega and Crystal Dynamics, IDOS Montreal, and IO Interactive, and we'll be good to go.
I thought Crystal Dynamics was under.
I know, but Embracer is hemorrhaging money, and I'm sure they would love to sell off some studios.
That's the discussion that we need to have, but
Yeah, I mean,
you can't have that.
I don't know enough about it to like really comment on it. I just know that they're like
Mm,
really hemorrhaging money, and I know that Microsoft is already working with Crystal and IDOS Montreal on projects, and it would be really great if they would just buy them. and use them for either new IP or old IP. Or the thing that sucks though is like Tomb Raider is owned by Amazon now, and we won't be getting.
That's still like baffling.
I hate
Just
everything about
just
that.
baffling.
I hate everything about that.
Oh, oh, I do too. I
Man.
I'm I think I think we was talking about it, and everybody we're gonna wrap up and everything. I think we were talking about it, and I just text you. I'm like, this is baffling. Like I don't want that. I didn't want that to happen. I know it was unexpected, but I'm like, what is Amazon gonna do with the Tomb Raider series?
They're going to make
What?
a movie and a series that takes place within the movie's universe, and they're going to make video games.
And that's just it. I'm gonna let
Yeah,
that be what it needs to be. Well, Corey, I think we could wrap up the show. Uh,
I guess we can.
we're gonna talk more about Nintendo next time, everybody. Um, you know, this is one of our. I wouldn't even say a mini block. This is just like one of our discussions from what we played and how that led into the discussion and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, I like these episodes. I like that we've been doing this lately. It just feels like normal. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. I mean, I know people like Snacktendo and playing with power and the
uh-huh.
segments that we do, but like this just feels better in a way to me. And it feels like our old stuff. Like it just feels like I don't know. We have so much that's so structured and so everything has to be this, and this.
Formulated.
And like, when we started doing a lot more with Boss Rush, we felt like we had to do more formulaic things. And I feel like this is like old school stuff, like really old school stuff, and it just feels better in my head to me,
I
even though
understand what you're saying. It's just that we're bringing ourselves. Like we're not running off a sheet or a note or something. It's just like nothing is planned. We're having a discussion, um, and regardless of what it is, we're having a honest conversation.
right. So I don't
But
know.
before we go, everybody, Corey, you have brought back a certain console podcast back. You want to let everybody know what it is?
Oh yeah, so we restarted. Well, I've been wanting to talk about Xbox. I've been wanting to do an Xbox show for a long time, and like when Arsenal X ended, it kind of like Jesse was going through some things, and he kind of had to take care of that, which is totally understandable. Not like not just a fact of the show. And then I don't think Stoy really wanted to do it anymore either, and I didn't really have people to do it with, and it was just that weird time where like I wasn't on Pow Block because we were trying to keep this Xbox show afloat, and it wasn't really what
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody wanted it to be, but everybody still wanted to talk about Xbox at some point. So uh we have kind of come up with a new concept, and we launched Xbox Arsenal this week. It'll be every other week. My friend from Tower Casuals, Josh Finney, is going to sit in every other week with me. And then the in between weeks, I don't know. I kind of want to do something on the in between weeks as well, but like we'll see. We'll see what that looks like. But for now, it's every other week. I think it's going to release on. I don't really. Right now, it's just Tuesdays. I mean, that's all I have. It's on Tuesdays or Wednesday. I haven't decided yet. But the first
Mm-hmm.
episode is out. It's doing really well for us, and I'm shocked at how well it's doing. And I don't know. I'm just happy to talk about Xbox again, uh, in some capacity. Um, not that like we can't do it on the Boss Rush podcast, but like LeBron and Stephanie don't have Xboxes, and they're not really into the ecosystem the way that I am. And, it's just, I don't know. It's just, when you talk with Xbox people about Xbox, it's nice to kind of have that. So, the way that we talk about Nintendo,
Mm-hmm.
so, so yeah, I mean, it's out. The first episode's out. So you can check that out on podcast services. If you're already subscribed to the old Arsenal X show, it's on that feed, so you can go check that out. And so next week's off is an off week, but I did put up the spotlight episode that we did with Jeff Gardner, the former producer of Bethesda on Skyrim and Fallout, and he started a new studio called Something Wicked Games, and so that's available there. It's also available on the Boss Rush podcast feed now, so you can check that out, and on YouTube. So yeah. Xbox Arsenal is out now. Sorry, I have an itch. It's like in that weird spot that you can't reach because.
Is it like in the middle, a little bit down?
Yeah, and I'm not flexible enough to even reach it, so I'm just gonna leave it.
Is it that you start out this way, but then you end up having to use your other arm and then
go
under with the thumb?
What I'm gonna do when we end the show, I'm gonna go to the door over there and just like do one of them bear shimmies,
Is it Tailspin? No, Jungle Book.
Yeah,
with Baloo. I love Jungle Book. I love that movie. And I love Tailspin. That's all Disney, everybody. I'm sorry. But with that, everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Do check out Xbox Arsenal for all your Xbox needs. And we will talk to you guys later on Nintendo Pow Block. Bye, everybody. Woohoo!
Goodbye.
Nintendo Pow Block is a product of Boss Rush Media, LLC, and is recorded from our headquarters in Akron, Ohio. The show is hosted by me, Edward Varnell. My co-hosts are Corey Derrick and Cordy Yikes. You can find Corey at I am Corey in HD on Twitter and Instagram, as well as hosting the Boss Rush Podcast and Tower Casuals, the Destiny Podcast. You can find Cordy at Cordy_Yikes on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. You can find me at That Richard Cole on Twitter and Instagram. Follow Nintendo Pow Block on all social media platforms at Pow Block Podcast. You can also follow Boss Rush Media and Boss Rush Network on all major social media platforms. Join the Boss Rush Network Discord and Facebook groups to interact with other friends and fans. Visit bossrush.net for more great content and patreon.com/bossrushmedia to learn how you can support this show. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.